Alright. Well, I'm not going to do a movie review this time, but I am going to do a little short rant about some of the comics that I enjoy. Some of the stuff that I've picked up and read that I enjoyed. If you guys, liked some of the same things, just hit me up with a message or something. Okay, well, here's the rundown. Basically, first off, let me start off with Moon Knight. Now, Moon Knight, he's more or less known as, some people at best consider him Ersatz doppelganger Batman. They see him as Marvel's analog of Batman, but he's much more than that. If any of you have read the reboot of the series, not a reboot, but more of his most recent ongoing series, you can tell he's a lot more than merely a Batman ripoff. There's more depth to the character. I like the artwork. David Finch did an excellent job on the first arc, but then, the following arc, I didn't like the artwork so much, but the writing was still good. But I thought he was a very interesting character, so much so that I went out and bought the Essential Moon Knight just for the hell of it. It's one of the, as a matter of fact, it's the only Essentials Marvel thing I've ever bought. Strangely enough, they still haven't done an Essential Deadpool yet. Maybe they will eventually. Deadpool's one of my favorite Marvel characters. I think he's everybody's favorite Marvel character. But that's beside the point. Moon Knight. Also, Moon Knight, he never had... He has the Daredevil problem. He doesn't really have like that broad rogues gallery. I mean, Daredevil's cool and all, but the villains make the good hero. I mean, that's what Spider-Man's got going for him. That's what Batman always had going for him. He's had great villains to go up against. Moon Knight really doesn't have that. He had like that guy Midnight in like the second story arc. I guess he'll run into one of Spider-Man's villains or something like that. He fought the werewolf when he first jumped into comics, but outside of that, he needs a villain to go toe to toe against that can really match his character, that can match him, But I think he's a great character. The way David Finch handled by any other artist. Now, this is the thing. Moon Knight's outfit is one of those outfits. If it's handled by the right artist, it looks badass. And when David Finch drew Moon Knight in his getup, it looked badass. And that's what drew me into the book, was the artwork that way. Okay, moving on. Next, I'm going to talk about the Ultimates. Now, I was never an Avengers reader. I tried to get into them, but, the continuity had been so deep for so long, me just picking it up, it was hard for me to get into the Avengers. And this is like, it was like the 90s when I started reading comic books, and then they had the whole Heroes Reborn and all that. Then they canceled the Avengers, then they had New Avengers, and then they got Young Avengers, and Outlaw Avengers, and Avengers, and Great Lakes Avengers. Shit is crazy. So what I did was, after I watched Ultimate Avengers, the animated thing, I admit it, I watched it. So what? I went out and bought the Ultimates books in the collected volumes, and I have to say it was very, very good. Like, I was really surprised by what I read. Mark Millar and Brian Hitch did a really good job. Brian Hitch's artwork, it felt like I was reading a movie, like a feature film. Like, each page, it was like another scene out of that film that, before I would have said the film that will never be made, but, it's slated to be released in 2012. So, it basically, this is probably what the movie's going to be like if they follow it page by page like they did The Watchmen. But then again, that might be a mistake. But overall, it was a good ass story. And for those of you who haven't read it, I definitely recommend you pick it up. I especially like what they did with Captain America's character. But as far as the Ultimates go, I haven't picked up Ultimates 3 yet. And I've heard mixed things about it. I mean, Joe Madureira came back. I mean, I'm glad about that, but it doesn't. I heard it doesn't have the same atmosphere as Ultimates 1 and 2, but I'll go out and get it just for completion's sake, or I'll just wait for the soft cover because I'm not paying $24 just because it's hardbound, whatever. I'm not that desperate for it, especially if it's not that good. I can wait for the soft cover, but I'll get it just to complete it. My favorite character, my overall in the Avengers, my favorite character has always been Hawkeye. And Ultimates 2, I really enjoyed that because you got to see Hawkeye a little bit more than you did in the first one. And I did stop by Barnes and Nobles and like read part of Ultimates 3 and see how crazy he ended up being because of all the stuff that happened. I'm not going to spoil anything for nobody who read it, but Hawkeye was always my favorite Avenger next to Captain America. So, it's a shame he never really got his own book. That would have been pretty neat, but hell, whatever. What else can I say about it? Shit, the artwork was just fantastic in that book. Brian Hitch is really good. And last but not least, I'm going to talk about The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. I think every diehard comic book fan has read this story. It reaffirms why Batman is my favorite superhero of all time. Black Panther, Moon Knight, Daredevil, Spider-Man, Hawkeye, like I said, Captain America, Wolverine, Deadpool. Like, those are some of my other favorites, but Batman's always got the number one spot. And this story solidifies that for me. It shows him in his full badassness. They play Batman with the campy themes and all that from the TV show and the damn Super Friends, but Batman's a dark character. And Frank Miller brought that back, and Frank Miller, to me, overall, is a genius. In my opinion, he's one of the best comic creators in our age right now. And I can't wait for this Holy Terror Batman thing that he's supposed to be writing. And even though I have mixed feelings about the Spirit, but whatever. It's first time as a director, so I cut him some slack. Samuel L. Jackson did good, but Dark Knight Returns pretty much set the template for, I guess, the mood of Batman and the way it should be. I also like All-Star Batman and Robin. And I know a lot of you out there don't like All-Star Batman and Robin, but I dug it. It's funny. I got the humor. I get it. That this is a sort of a spoof, and Jim Lee's art in that match with Frank's writing, it works well together. And that's about it. Also, I never really got into Image Comics, so I can't really post anything on here. I did buy like the collected Spawn Volume 1 and 2. And Spawn was pretty good, but I never really got into Image Comics. I tried 2 years ago, but I just couldn't follow along with it. I started on not Wildstorm, Stormwatch. Like, I had a couple issues of that, and then I think I had DV8. There's DV8. I had an issue of Divine Right. And I had Gen 13. I had an issue of that. Jim Lee's art wasn't in it. I think he left by then. And I never read Youngblood or anything Rob Liefeld did. But that's about it. So yeah, this is another video that nobody's gonna watch, and I'll see you later.